Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, we've got a lot of people on this call this morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you all. I hope
Morning.
everything's good. Good morning. Hope everything's good with everybody. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, welcome to our quarterly meeting. I know that Alex has a nice little agenda for us. It's just good to see you all. I can't wait to see you all in person. I'm considering rotating, doing like a quarter online on Zoom and maybe bring you all to our new office because you all haven't seen the office yet. So we may have our next meeting here. We had the Native Americans already here and we provided lunch. So maybe we'll do the same with this advisory board and provide lunch and just come and hang out with us here at CMA for a few hours. So we'll see how that works out the next time around. Alex, do you have an agenda to put up on the board? Or Sharice?
Sharice should be putting it up. Oh, there it is. Okay.
There it is. Okay. I am done with my welcome because I'll talk throughout the whole discussion. So you all will hear from me throughout.
All right.
We're good. We want to go ahead and start with your agenda, Alex.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Costa. Well, welcome everyone to our first meeting of the new year. We have our agenda here. I just wanted to say thank you for joining. And we do have some new members that have joined the advisory committee. I'll be introducing them shortly. But for now, I wanted to ask Dr. Fenton if he could give us a bit of an update of what's going on in the research area and as well as another project that we have going on.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos días con todos. The research division is finally getting some staff members. So that means we're going to be able to amplify, I think, our ability to produce data and conduct research. Right now, we're working with, and for those of you who attended the launch of the statistical profile, I thank you very much for attending. We will be, I'll be conducting an interview with Latino Mas TV, April 4th, I think it is, and I'm going down to Beaufort to also conduct an interview in Spanish on some of the content with the statistical profile. In addition to that, the research team, along with everyone here at CMA, has been working diligently with the Get Connected SC campaign. For those of you who don't know about the Get Connected SC campaign, it's basically a project aimed at getting internet connection to everyone in the state. That means increasing the infrastructure and access to broadband across the state with both federal and state dollars, but it's primarily from federal monies, and also improving digital equity, which increases the amount of money available to people that might have internet access but don't have a subscription and might not understand how the internet works, et cetera, et cetera. We are working with the Department of Administration and the Office of Regulatory Staff's Broadband Office on a survey, the Better Internet Survey, which we, thanks to Ivan Segura, translated into Spanish. I think we're going to have a link for both the English and the Spanish version of that survey. It's extremely important that as many people as possible respond to that survey so that the state has a good idea of the diversity of people that are internet users or want to be internet users that don't have access to the internet or don't have enough money for subscription. So I advise everyone to collaborate with us as much as possible and get that survey out to your contacts, the people that you work with, your family members, et cetera, et cetera. We do have paper copies that we can send to people if need be, or you can call, there's a number that we can add, that we that you can dial up the phone number and ask for a paper copy, and they'll send it to you with a self-addressed stamped envelope in either English or Spanish. And other than that, we're working on finishing an updated statistical profile in the research division. We've been in contact with Amazon Web Services and with ArcGIS, ESRI, in order to develop a data dashboard
Yes.
that anyone can access.
Thank you for calling South Carolina. I was like, my name is Julie. How may I direct your call?
And you can access that information from our website. And ultimately, we want to create some sort of digital content and app form with a registry of contacts for people across the state that can gain access to services in their area. So those are some of the things we've been working on, and hopefully we keep on keeping on. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask us. We're quick with our responses. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. And we really need your help, advisory board members. We have got to, CMA's quota is 2,500 to completed surveys. The agency, the broadband agency, the total is 30,000. So we're trying to reach our quota, and we need to get these surveys completed in the community. So if any of you have an event of any sort where we can come out and bring our iPads or whatever, or provide you with paper ballots, if we can get you to help folks fill them out, that will help us to meet our quota. I think we have a deadline of the end of April, so we don't have much time to get our surveys completed. So really, Alex will send you an email with the paper copy as well as the QR code, so that you can share the QR code with those youngsters who like using cell phones. And for those who are mature like I am, we want the paper copy. We can fill out the paper copy and get it back to us so that we can turn it in or get it logged into the computer. Tanya said they have 2 events coming up in April. Bishopville and Marion in April. Do you have dates, Tanya? If you can send us some dates, we can certainly plan to have a table set
I'll send
up
out the date and the flyers as soon as we complete them, probably this week.
Okay,
Send them right out to you so that you know, and I'll make sure to put the logo on it as well.
wonderful.
And at each event, we're looking probably at about 150 to 200 people at each event. It's a food drop event / cultural event. So we should have a good number of people at both of the housing projects.
Well, we need to have people out there at a table filling out those surveys if we can. And you can also place our QR code on your flyer if you'd like. And that way people can see that. And those who are smartphone savvy, they can go ahead and do the surveys. Because young folks can do it with no problems at all.
Right.
So
Can Alex send the
yes.
QR code? Okay,
yes,
perfect.
he can send that and the paper ballots too. So, and let us know when, and we will definitely have some folks out there. Very good.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Fenton, for that update. Very quickly, I wanted to introduce some of our new staff members. Seems like every day we're getting someone new to join the team. So I wanted to introduce first Miss Ashley Owens, and she's currently program coordinator for the African American Affairs Division. She on here?
Hello, everyone.
Yep,
Thank
she's
you,
on.
Alex, for that introduction. Again, my name is Ashley Owens, and I am over the African American Division. I look forward to working with you all in any partnership, collaboration that you think can serve our community. So thank you.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Ashley. Christine Curry of the Asian American Pacific Islander Affairs Division.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again. My name is Christine Curry. I'm over the AAPI division, and I will actually be out on maternity leave here in the next week, but I do have an amazing intern, Jacelyn, who will be taking over in my place while I'm gone. So I'll make sure to drop both of our emails in the chat so that if you guys have any questions or want to collaborate or do any partnerships, we'll make ourselves available. Thanks, Alex.
Very
Yep.
good.
And Jasmine Goodwin. She's our newest member. So say hi, Jasmine.
Hi, everyone. As Alex said, I'm Jasmine Goodwin over the Small and Minority Business Division. I'm excited to be on the team and looking forward to working with you all on any partnership or collaboration opportunities.
Wonderful. Is Max on?
I don't see him. But
I don't think he had an invite.
Oh, well, yeah, he can't join if he didn't get invited, right?
Oh,
But Robert, could you give us a little introduction on who Max is, since he wasn't able to join?
Sure. Actually, we have two new members of the research division.
Right.
We have Jaquiris McLeod. He's going to be a research and statistical analyst for the division. He began right before Christmas, so that's probably why I think most people haven't been formally introduced to him. And we have Max Petushko. He's a new statistician 3 with the agency, just started literally last Friday. So he's still getting all of his ducks in order as far as benefits packages and whatnot, but he'll definitely be, I think, main point of contact for a lot of the immediate research projects that you might need, especially if I'm out in the field, publicizing some of our research. But yeah, I'll get both of their emails up in the chat.
very good. All right.
All right, and now for a little update of what's going on with the Hispanic program. As y'all know, the student summits have been pretty successful as far as the reception and their attendance, and we're getting really good feedback from the students that do attend, as well as the community members. We had one in November at RB Stall High, just for the high school. The students received it very well. We had in it speaking Vanessa Gongora and Clarissa Gainey. And what we did a little bit different at this summit was where we focused on the Brazilian community in Charleston, where there's a pretty sizable one there. And Clarissa Gainey, she's actually Brazilian herself. So when she started speaking, the students really received that very well, and they were very proud that they were starting to get some kind of recognition, being that they're a smaller percentage of the Latino population, but they definitely enjoyed seeing her speak. So that's just another reason to not only think about the Hispanic minority, but also, the minority in the Latino side of things, which is one that we can focus on is the Brazilian community here. So that's just something to keep in mind in our future projects and our work. So that was received very well. And currently we have one coming up at Lander University in Greenwood, and that will be on April 14th from 11:30 to 12:30. That will also be for high school students. They will be bussed in from the local districts near Lander. And currently there's about 100 students that will be attending, high school students. So that's about the max occupancy of the auditorium that we booked at Lander. So that's going very well. And Lander seems very excited to be hosting the event. And I'm sure that the students will be getting a lot of good information. We will have Christian Barrientos of Clemson speaking at that event. And he is a PhD student. He's also working for, he's working for Clemson under one of their student entry programs, where they focus on getting high school students prepared for college. So it worked out very well having him speak at that event. And we'll also be updating some documents, one of them being the State of Hispanics is what what was released in 2019 under Lee McElveen, our old one of the previous program directors for the Hispanic program. She was able to write that up. So we want to update that, with some current information about the Hispanic community in South Carolina. I'll add it into the chat just so y'all can see what I'm talking about, because y'all may have not seen it. But Dr. Fenton said that he would like to, put some more information out there about the Hispanic community. And since we just released since he just released the statistical profile for the state, it'll be good to focus on Hispanics and use this template to really showcase what's going on in the state. And that, as well as the resource guide, will be updated, and it'll be combining the Latino media guide that's on our website. So be looking out for that. But besides that, those are all the updates I have for the program. And next in our agenda, we have, I wanted to introduce actually some of our new members to the Hispanic Advisory Committee. First, I'd like to introduce Sari Melendez. She is in Wahala. She's a city councilwoman there. So
The big town of Wahala.
right. So I just want to introduce Sarai. Sarai, could you introduce yourself if you could?
Yes, thank you, Alex. Hello, Dr. Costa.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you. It's nice to see familiar faces on this call, amazing leaders that are on the team for the Hispanic Latino Advisory. So I'm excited just to be contributing my part. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Alex, for being so informative about this Latino Advisory. I was not aware of it as much within the last couple of months. So, and getting more involved with CMA, obviously ensuring that our voices all together are being shared and represented. So I'm excited to be here. Like Alex mentioned, born and raised in Wahala, South Carolina. And I am humbly serving on my 4th year on my local city council government. So this is my 4th year. I call it my senior year. It's been a learning opportunity for me, and definitely want to continue this journey as long as we continue working towards the desired goal, which is let's get some true policies in place that really reflect the community that we're currently serving. So I'm happy to be here. I'm very humbled, and I'm excited to be collaborating and partnering up with these projects. So thank you so much.
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you, Sarai. Yeah, like she mentioned, she's from Wahala, so we're glad that we have someone from up there, up in South Carolina, somewhere where we don't have a lot of people. So we're glad that, given her position, that she's able to join the board. And next, I'd like to introduce Nicole Moran. She's actually going to give a little presentation about the kind of work she does and a little bit of intro about herself. She's in Sumter, and she's a community health worker, and she just joined
Very
our
good.
advisory committee as well. So welcome, Nicole.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
I appreciate the invitation. I'm so happy to be here. Can everyone see my screen really quickly?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Perfect. So like Alex mentioned, my name is Nicole Moran. I'm a bilingual independent community health worker here in Sumter. And I kind of wanted to give you guys a quick presentation of what I do and who I am. So my story begins, I was born to a US immigrant and a now retired Air Force veteran who both sacrificed so much for allowing me to have the best life possible. As a military child, I had the opportunity to travel all across Europe and instantly fell in love with learning more about different cultures and connecting with those that are different from me. So I did want to share a few pictures of myself and my family, just so that you guys get to know a little bit more about me and my passions as well.
Very good.
So my inspiration stems from being a part of a military family. I didn't have the opportunity to connect with my own family as most other people do because as a military family, we did move around quite a lot. So as a daughter of an immigrant mother, I saw the cultural challenges faced by so many others. And seeing this helped me to see my friends as family and to better understand the concerns of a wider population bigger than myself. So this happened at a very young age for me, but I was privileged to be able to understand others that are different from me. So this is a little bit more about my work, and I'll quickly go through some of the photos here. So at the top here, I have a picture of myself, Deborah, Miss Sandra, Citlali, and a few other advocates here. This is my first time advocating on the state level, advocating for the Latino community, as well as advocating for children. I was able to participate and advocate in the Committee on Children, and this was this past fall. Here in this next picture, I have a picture of myself, my mom, and Victor, who's actually one of the directors of Latino Mas TV, and we've had a very good connection with him, and we're so happy to be able to collaborate with him always. At this bottom picture, I have a picture of myself, my mom, and Miss Donna Mack, who was the previous executive director of the South Carolina Community Health Worker Association. Right here, I actually have a picture of myself, my mom, and Sarai Melendez, who I had the opportunity to meet in Walhalla and got to meet again in the Early Childhood Common Agenda. So I'm so happy to see Sarai on the call this morning as well. This bottom picture is a picture of myself, my mom, and Miss Cheryl Jackson, who is the Safe Kids Sumter County coordinator. So I was so happy and privileged to be able to take that certification course for child passenger safety this past January. So Miss Cheryl Jackson did teach that class along with a few other instructors. So I'm always happy to work with Miss Cheryl. On this side is what I like to call my Pasos side. So on this first picture I have of when myself and my family got the opportunity to go to a Fireflies baseball game through Pasos. So we were able to advocate and share more information on what Pasos does and the vision that they have for the Latino community. At this bottom picture here is another picture at the baseball game. I had the opportunity to share some time with Mr. Mike Young and be able to share more about what I do and learn more from him as well on that same day. And here I have a picture of the entire Pasos team. We went to a conference this past fall as well, and we all had the opportunity to share and get to learn more about each other. The next picture I have of actually Voces Comunitarias, where I had the opportunity to meet so many more community leaders from all across the state. And this bottom picture might be one of my favorites. This is a picture of myself and my mom picking up boxes from Food Share in Colombia to bring to Sumter and give out to our community. That is always such a pleasure to be able to do. And I'll continue on with these pictures. So as I mentioned briefly before, I was part of the Early Childhood Common Agenda, and we have the group picture here. I was also part of Voces Comunitarias and was able to help organize and plan some of these events that we had going on. And this top picture is my absolute favorite and touches closest to home. This was our first Latino community baby shower that we held in Sumter. We were able to connect so many families and new moms to resources that are in their areas and be able to give them diapers and learn more about different Medicaid plans as well. We did have the opportunity to have the diaper giveaway tour, Latino Mas TV, Absolute Total Care, and SC Housing present that day as well. So that is such an honor to be able to do and serve my community. So a little bit more about my roles. So as a community health worker, it is my responsibility to educate, advocate, and motivate my community to learn more, to speak up, and to ask for help as well. It is crucial to understanding the needs of the community. And when we understand these needs, we're better able to serve and educate our community. As a volunteer with different organizations, it is up to me to express my concerns or ideas with others who can provide the adequate services to my community. As well as a community advocate, it is my responsibility to educate myself on laws and policies that would help and those that would hinder our communities from achieving their goals. This is a little bit of what I do. I do wear a lot of hats in my community, but I did want to share some of the more basic things that I do in my community. And again, this is so broad. So I'd be happy to go into more detail later on with each and every one of you. So this is my passion. I've been helping people for as long as I can remember. I remember the first instance of myself being an advocate for my community. I think I was maybe 7 years old or even younger at the time, advocating for having things translated into Spanish, advocating for my mom in the hospital, advocating for my community. It was always a pleasure to be able to help people, and that turned into my biggest passion. Helping people gain access to healthcare, advocating and connecting others to resources is fundamental into helping our community. And again, I did list here a little bit more about those pictures. So our first baby shower, the early childhood common agenda, and voces comunitarias. So in working with the South Carolina Community Health Worker Association, I have seen the needs for resources in the rural areas of the state. I've conducted meetings with fellow regional leaders in the PD area to connect with resources and other community leaders in that area. I believe that united, we can reach so many more people. And we've realized that community health work is so important in this state, especially in the rural parts of our state. When we're connecting ourselves, we are connecting with resources, and those resources are going to be the things that really do help our community. So how can you help? In working with so many community leaders, I have seen the longing that to help the community, the Latino and Hispanic populations. However, the timidness of the community and oftentimes the language barrier stops this from happening. We've seen this firsthand in Sumter when we try and connect with other resources, but they may not have material translated into Spanish or may not have Spanish speakers. So there is a longing to help the community, but we need more community leaders, more bilingual staff, and more translated materials to better help our community. I'm always looking for more resources and connections to be made. I would love all of your collaboration to connect more community leaders and community members together to best serve our communities. Thank you so much. And I left my contact information there. You guys would like to take a picture, or feel free to call me, email me at any point. Thank you so much for allowing me to be with you all this morning.
Very good. Welcome to the team. And Alex knows that we will help you in any way that we can. We will even help with translation services, whatever we need to do to communicate with our Hispanic Latino communities, because that's an important part of this agency and what we do. And therefore, we will roll up our sleeves and come out to help in any way that you need us to help.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And thank you again for allowing me to be with you all this morning.
Great. Absolutely.
Thank you, Nicole. So as you can see, it's very important to receive new perspectives and to receive people with new and different experiences than you might have, right? So I'm glad that Saraí and Nicole are able to join us on our committee, and I'm excited for what's to come and how they will be able to help achieve to help out the Hispanic community in South Carolina, right? So thank you very much, Nicole.
One thing I want to mention, Alex, is if we can get this advisory board to come up with their top 5 priorities that they want CMA to focus on, that would help us to put together our strategic plan, which is what we're getting ready to work on. So if you send your suggestions to Alex, we will compile it, and maybe Alex will send you a questionnaire or one page where you rate it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we want to become very proactive in our communities, all of our communities. And one way we can do this is to know where the needs are, what we need to do, and who we need to bring to the table to make it happen. So that would help a lot if you all could come up with some suggestions on what you'd like for CMA to focus on over the next year. We are having our 30th anniversary banquet in June, where we will highlight several of you in our videos and what have you. We want to show the growth of CMA from its beginning in 1993 up into where we are right now. So therefore, you'll be hearing from Sharice and our communications folks asking you to share your stories, because when you share your stories, we're going to share it with a lot of people who will be in the room. On the screen, our keynote speaker will be Bakari Sellers and the Mistress of Ceremony, Miss Whitney Sullivan. So we believe that Bakari will help to bring a crowd in, and the funding that we raise for this event will go towards our program areas, which means that we will be able to offer you little scholarships or support little events that you're having. And two, we are also using some of the funding to support students of incarcerated parents, helping them to stay in school by providing them with books or personal supplies, whatever they need. We want to be able to activate or reactivate our scholarship fund, and a lot of the dollars will be going towards that. So please go to, I don't know if any of you have our packet. We will send you the link. We need more sponsors. If you can share it throughout the community to see who would like to sponsor. We're going to have the Eventbrite soon for folks to buy tickets, but right now we're trying to secure sponsors for this event. So if you know of anyone to share our sponsorship packet with, please do so.
All right. I'll just open the floor now to an open discussion. Any comments or concerns, any ideas that you'd like for us to implement?
Let's see. We haven't heard from a few people in a while. Diana Salian. What about G Towers in Lexington?
I was listening to everything that was going on, and working for Lexington District 1, I have seen a growth in a lot of the Hispanic community with the different migration that's coming in.
Right.
So where we used to say just Mexico, the migrants of Mexico, now it's we're looking at families from Honduras, Nicaragua, Cuba has really, I have a big community here of Cubans that have come, not the way it used to, but remember when it was wet feet? Get on the beach, you're in. Now it's not no more that. And I have heard stories of how they've crossed my country, Panama, the jungles of Darien. They start all the way, they get into South America and they come up. So I was wondering how can we help those families? How can we, that would be one of my things, is finding out. I have families that we're helping because they're homeless, and it's a sad situation to see the new immigration picture.
Sure.
We have a lot of young men. If you happen to go to the stores, happen to go around there, there's a lot of young men who are here to work because they have to send money home. it's hard. It's going back to how everything started when the Mexican community came looking for work and looking for advances. But this time we have mothers who are let in with their children and their fathers are not. So, so the border situation is hurting.
Yes.
And at the same time, we need to face the new community that we have here for the Latino Hispanic community.
Then that's what we need. That should be one of our focal points.
Yes,
because we need to identify people by their culture, their groups. So we would know whether they're Cuban, what have you, and then have a way to determine what the needs are.
Right. Like I went to visit a mom from Guatemala, and she was renting a room in a trailer with another family, and there was 5 of them in that room.
Wow.
And her education is not like ours. And she had a dialect.
Wow.
And I did my best to communicate with her. I was able to get her the right people. They found a single wife for her, even though I lost her as a family, and Lexington too got her, but it helped because we got her, and she has her daughter, who's only 5 years old, has cerebral palsy.
Oh, wow.
And we were able to get a ramp for her, things that she couldn't do. So there's a new face.
Absolutely. And we need to be able to identify those faces. We need to be able to provide resources, or at least directions on where to find resources to help these families coming in. And that could be like a #1 priority as one of the things that we focus on this year, putting together a directory of resources. I think we have one with some resources, but we need to do it for bilingual and for folks who have language barriers.
Yes.
Because we'd have to do some translating of these documents into their mother language. So Alex, can we put that as a #1 priority? I think we need to focus on that.
Yeah, there's a new face with our Hispanic Latino community, a new face that we're going, oops, we have children here.
Right.
All by themselves.
Yes, yes.
So I think to admit that the picture has changed would be awesome.
Well, we need to address that. We need to do what we can to help in those situations. So that should be #1 on our priority list. And if you can provide Alex with a list of the different faces that you see, that would help us to know what direction we need to start with. Very good.
Anyone else?
Good morning, everyone. I apologize. I had to step away from the meeting for a little while.
Oh, I knew your name was up there.
Yeah. I had to step away.
Okay. Give us an update. What's going on down there?
Well, good stuff. A lot of good stuff. Community meetings. We are, Nilsi and I have partnered, and we're acting as, I would say, liaison community members to certain organizations.
Okay.
And so it's a lot of good stuff.
Very good. Very good. Well, we need to hear some more about it, and, keep us posted. If there's something that CMA needs to be a part of, please let us know so that we can be right there supporting whatever you're doing. You're on the Mayor's Council?
I'm not. Nilsi is.
Nilsi is. Okay. I know Nilsi was. Okay. I wasn't sure if you were on there. Very good. Well, I like to hear good stuff. That's a good thing. That means that there's some changes going on in the Charleston area that needs to be done. So great work. I see Nicole's hand. Nicole's hand is up.
Yes, I believe there was someone in front of me who had their
Oh,
hand up. I'll let them
um,
go speak first.
Maite,
who's it?
hey, oh, I don't think your microphone works. Yeah, we can't hear you. Well,
No,
I
your
can't hear
mic's
you.
not working.
I read those lips. She said, oh, wait a minute.
No, it's not working.
All right.
Well, we'll see, maybe play with that a little bit, Maite. Or if
And
you
yeah,
want, you
and
can
try
send
it
it in the
again.
chat.
Or have her go out and come back in. Maybe that'll help.
Ahora?
There you go.
There. Okay.
Okay, I don't know what's happening. Piggyback with what you were saying, right now, as a library assistant, we open a chapter under Reforma. Reforma is an institution that is 25 years old, is federal, and is specialized in its in services in Spanish or for Spanish, Latinx, and it's federal. We open a chapter, it's included South Carolina and North Carolina. As right now, yes, it's very broad, and it's a library network. Libraries have space, libraries have books, and library have services in Spanish. Sometimes it's invisibility within the library system, because sometimes it give you the freedom to expand or to do whatever it need. As right now, I'm currently working, like you said, with I have children, they don't speak English at all. We have tutoring sessions, and and Reforma is working to expand it to the entire both Carolinas, because it works with volunteers just to sit down and at least in the beginning to be more colloquial and a little bit of confidence, because the majority of families, it's a big community, like she said, Mexican community. They have already network, they know how the institution work. These newcomers, they are completely lost based in an economical education and origin. The other day I was talking with, and I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm going to send it to Alex. I don't know if you guys are familiar with www.affordableconnectivity.gov. That is a program that can get internet. Sadly, today, schools, any institution require internet even to do homework. And sometimes if you don't have a credit, the fee or the initial fee can be very, very high. And this program, if you qualify or if you live under a tribal territory, it can be free.
Yeah. We've been distributing that information.
And it's something that I don't know, a lot of my clients did not know. You can do it online or you can do it in paper. That will be a great help, because many times for these families to connect with the school, the only device that they have is the cell phone. And it's very limited. Many institutions or library institutions provide laptops, free internet, and space. And that was, I wanted to communicate that I'm working to provide tutoring services to families, and the tutoring services they offer when the volunteers they are working with the students. I do work with the parents with their limitations to access some kind of help or materials in Spanish, just to improve the vocabulary and the reading skill regardless of the language, at least in the beginning, because they come. I have children 9 years old. They don't even know the alphabet for whatever reason. I don't question it. And it's a challenge in the sense that they do have some services, but they don't know how to reach it.
That's right. That's right. That's where the problem is right there. They can't connect to the services. Okay.
Nicole, if you'd like to go.
Yes, really quickly, going back to what we were mentioning earlier about these new communities coming in. I always advocate for community health work, but I feel like I'm a little biased since I am a community health worker. With that being said, connecting with community health workers in the areas where we're seeing large populations of the Latino Hispanic communities is critical. Community health workers do have access to come into schools if allowed by the parents. We are able to come with patients to medical appointments, again, with their consent. We have a lot of flexibility when it comes to it. So if you're looking for more resources, if you're looking to connect families to healthcare, to other programs that are available to them, community health workers are the people to contact. I will leave my contact information in the chat. If you are interested in connecting with more community health workers, there are a lot of programs, especially in Lexington County, that are helping the Latino community gain the access to all of those resources. So I do work with the South Carolina Community Health Worker Association. So if need be, we can always connect and get in touch with the executive director, who is now Rashad Page. We can connect and help reach these families on another level. So I will leave my contact information in the chat. Thank you.
Very good. Let's see. I see a couple.
I think I was next on the hand raising.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the conversations that I'm hearing, I think two things for me just came up, and so I just want to be real quick. One thing I think that's really important that's come up in a lot of discussions, actually, I saw the Orgullo group is about to be meeting, is language access. I think there are a lot of resources out there, but something that I've come, I guess maybe also working for a state agency, is that there are a lot of resources out there, but they're not always in Spanish or in a language that's accessible. Right. So you may be able to connect them to XYZ organization, but then they don't have anybody who speaks Spanish there.
That's right.
Right. So the United Way may be translated, their right resources, but that next step isn't there. And so I've definitely had the experience where I have a lady who called me from Charleston, and I am watching the North Charleston Housing Authority so I can help her get Section 8. And I did connect with community health workers, and they're not also that well connected. So there are a lot of state agencies out there who maybe don't see that they're, that maybe they see that there's the Hispanic community is such a small group that is receiving their resources. But I think something that, if you're not providing language access, they're not going to come and receive your services, right? So it's a cycle, right? And I think we've all been part of different groups that have brought up language access and all of that in a variety of ways. So that I think is something to consider, especially when making a list of resources, that there are some organizations that may not be able to provide access. And then that's where CMA can also assist in connecting, for example, state agencies with the with state vendors,
right,
and other organizations with other resources, so that they can provide access to all South Carolinians. And then again, I do want to say all of these other, what in Spanish we often call dialects, those are languages. I do want to point that out. They are languages in of themselves. And of course, there is a growing population of people who speak other indigenous languages. So I do echo that. And then something that, as working in the housing space, of course, I get a lot of questions about housing access. Our rental assistance program, as you all know, has ended. It only served 39 counties, but that was one of the only rental assistance programs that helped people who didn't have a social security number. And I know Nicole and her mom and I have been talking about one situation of somebody in Sumter who doesn't have a social security number who needed rental assistance. So I think that's going to be a growing problem as we see affordable housing being an issue across the state for all communities. And so I am going to put in the chat, we have the Palmetto, I think it's called the Palmetto Housing Survey that we are just started, I think early March. That is a survey trying to capture housing needs across South Carolina. So that is now in Spanish. So I'll put that in the chat. And hopefully we can all share that to also try to capture some of those housing needs across the state.
Thank you so much.
That's all good. But when I say there's a new face, it's not so much putting out there the resources and things. This is a new group that we have to work with to get confidence in their community. And that's how we started, because a lot of them will not go. I can give them as many papers and they'll like, I don't want to make waves. So one of the things we need to focus on is the new community that's here and give them the trust for them to trust us.
Right.
So that's why I say there is a new group, a new need, and it's not so much about translating, about getting them to the offices.
Right.
Once I know that, because it's happened with the family that I was talking to, 2 people contacted me because they trust me now, because she said, you can trust her.
That's right.
So that's why when I brought that up, it's not so much that if we go into the schools, we go here, is if you see that group, that's just like starting all over again.
No, I definitely hear you. I wasn't trying to negate that,
but
but that's a big piece too.
Yeah, it is a big piece, but if they don't have the confidence, and like you said, if we don't have the resources in an office, and they're going to be treated wrong,
right?
We have to. I'm really advocating for what I'm seeing, and I see a new group of people,
right,
scared, just
right.
like 20 years ago.
When
I came into this in Yvonne, that's how we started. And then when we were able to get in and built it, we got trust. But now we have a new community that's here. They're in our schools. They live around us. And all they do is send the children to school and hide.
Wow.
They don't even go out to get food. I was teaching now the 3 that I'm working with. You can go here, go to this supermarket. I told them about the different supermarkets we have at Decker Boulevard, that's Spanish. I send them there because I want them to trust me.
Right.
And that way they can, hey, word of mouth. That's one of the things that the Latino community has always been a positive note, is word of mouth. So if we're out there reaching to this new community, because we're not blind, they're there.
Right.
Then the word of mouth will go out and say, hey, this is what we can work on. But, if there's only one person going out there saying, okay, there's so much
right
all of us can do with word of mouth and getting people to trust what we have and what we can show them. Because right now they're very, very ignorant of what is going on in their lives. They're waiting for court dates.
Wow.
These are the new families that came in, and it's just like starting all over again, the wheel. And we can't ignore them.
No, we cannot.
So that's when I brought that up, it's not so much that we can give them so much paperwork, but if they don't trust to the place we're sending them to, then that's not going to help.
That's right.
And us as a community and representing that community, we need then to, like you working for South Carolina Housing, you need to say, hey, we have a new group here. I need to feel that I can trust them to come to your office. And with Latino Comunidad, it's everything, us being maybe the hand that holds them for a little bit.
Right. And that's probably what will happen.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying about
Okay.
we need to do something.
All right, Tanya?
Or else we're gonna have people hiding again and we're gonna go back.
No, we're gonna try to avoid that. So
Yes.
we gotta be very proactive.
I'm sorry, I'm passionate about certain things.
That's all right. And we appreciate that passion. So there are two things, there are two levels here for us. One, I'm not sure, Dr. DaCosta, that you know that I have been in communications with Cynthia because we are trying to create something. So what I hear a lot in these streets and from our people, and when I say our people, I mean Afro Latinos, is that we don't talk to one another. And so if Diana and Nilsi are doing something in the upstate,
Low country,
and we hear something in Central Midlands from Anna, and then I go to Ivan and I say, hey, did you know that tal is happening? What I typically will get back 9.999% of the time is had no idea. And what that does is it really leaves us on this rat wheel, going and going and going and going,
Right.
but we're not making any progress.
Right.
The one thing that I do love, and I said that to your staff, Dr. DaCosta, after the SCASIT conference, was that when our brothers and sisters in the African American community get together, there is a hierarchy of how it's going to get done, and there's very little overlap. So if CMA's, if you guys are doing something great in this area, I gotta stop moving my hands because my camera's doing things. If CMA is doing something in this area, and then you have the Black pages doing something in this area, and then you have Minority Report doing something in another area, right? Y'all, everybody's talking because everybody understands the assignment. But for some reason, when I'm going to say Nicole, because I've never met you, so nice to virtually meet you. If Nicole is doing something, there should be some type of statewide, easy access, either calendar, chat.
I understand what you're saying.
Something so that we all understand what it is that we're doing.
And you're all on the same page.
We're all on the same page. Anna works at housing. So if Anna thinks of somebody that's doing something with first-time homeowners, housing assistance, or education with housing, I hope that I would be on her #1 radar to say, well, I know the Latino Communications is doing this, right? But if somebody is doing something else, you know, when Brenton came down to the Three Kings event, I was pleasantly pleased that he was so surprised by how many people were there, that we had, you know, Abraham the camel there. But it goes back to that sense of how are we all keeping house, that we're not in touch with one another and we're not sharing this information. If I have money, it should not negate CMA wanting to join in or the Anna wanting to join in because I got the money. We should be thinking about it beyond funding. And I think it's like we're trying to eat each other up because, oh, well, you know, Baso's got money, so therefore I can't, you know, I'm not going to call them. It should be more of a thing where we're all working together for the same purposes at the end of the day, and that is to serve the Latino people, Afro-Latino people in South Carolina to the best of our ability, or get out of the nonprofit world. Because we're looking foolish. After this 2020 census that came out, we know we were undercounted. We know we were undercounted. We had COVID plus misinformation out there. Now we get back into this thing of, well, you know, they're only 7% or 24%. We all know that the percentages are a fiction. we're being bombarded over here with misinformation, and we know that the real information is what we see in the streets, what we see in the communities. So we need to work together. And for the love of God, Dr. Costa, I do not know how to pull that together so that it doesn't
the
feel
one
so
way to do it,
discombobulated.
the way we're going to have to do it is we're going to have to, one, stop meeting on this Zoom for a minute. We need to get together in a room and come up with a strategy that's going to create a cross-communication kind of platform where you got to be intentional about this, intentional about sharing information. Because if you all share information amongst yourselves, it keeps you all in the loop, and you loop CMA in at the same time. That way we're all knowing what's going on around the state. I think we need to have that conversation to determine how we're going to connect the dots. It sounds like there's a lot of disconnect. One group's doing one thing, no one's communicating about the other. And we've got to sit down and put it all together. And that's a planning forum, Alex. That is a communication forum where we join forces to determine how to best communicate. A community calendar would be good. Sharing the calendar. That way everyone can see what's going on. You can have a low country calendar, upstate, Midlands, share those things and respond to what's going on. Sometimes one thing I really would like to see is more interaction in other people's areas. I'd like to see Midland, Latino, Hispanic folks going to Charleston or going to Greenville or them coming to Columbia. That's how you share what's going on and be a part, because the goal is to make sure that our communities are receiving the information they need. They know where to get resources if they need it. And we have to be one voice for the community, not a lot of different voices. And we're going to have to sit down at the table and come up with a plan, because communication is the only way we can do this. And we have to decide how this communication will work. It has to be a team effort where everyone has some kind of input on what we're going to do. So I'd like to do a forum of some sort where we're talking about how to build a coalition. Because if we don't build a coalition, we will remain scattered. And just like Ms. Tower said, from the new faces that are coming, that's going to be a added layer of problems. So therefore, we have to fix where we are right now. And the only way to do that is to sit down, hash it out, and determine what that's going to look like. So I think that we need to have a sit down conversation about this so that we can be on the same page, talking about the same things and sharing information statewide. So it's going to take some work. It's because I'm sure there are cultural conflicts. I'm almost certain there are cultural conflicts. There are cultural conflicts in the Black community. There are definitely cultural conflicts in the Native American community. But we have managed to get folks at the table. This is the one advisory board I've not been able to get everybody at the table to talk about how we're going to share information, how we're going to help each other out in our different areas. And we need to actively work on that, because it's going to be critical going forward, because as the Hispanic population grows, we need to make sure that we have an avenue or we have an action plan in place to help those who are new to the state, who are coming into the state. We need to have a plan ready to reach out and touch, reach out and help them. So I think we're going to organize a meeting where we come to the table. I will even bring in a facilitator, because you need a communications facilitator to help identify issues, find the common ground, and then come up with a plan on how we're going to work across cultural lines. Is everyone in agreement with that approach? I think that's going to be an approach that we're going to need to use. And we will get a date together and send out some dates. And we will identify a facilitator to facilitate this meeting, because we need someone who does not know anything about any of you or CMA. We need somebody who just brand new to come in, look at the issue, and help us to come up with a plan that's going to work for everybody. And CMA will be like the center point. But everyone has a responsibility to communicate what's going on if we're going to be in a position to help the new faces that are coming to South Carolina or that are already here in South Carolina. And it's going to be critical sharing information, because all of you, most of you are from different cultures. You got what? We got Puerto Ricans, we got Mexicans, who else on this advisory board?
Venezuela. You have Panamanian, Puerto Rican mix right here.
Exactly, exactly. And those cultures conflict in a lot of ways. So therefore, we're going to have to find common ground and make it the kind of coalition that we need it to be. So it's going to take some work. So we're going to bring in some outside voices too, to help us pull this together, because I think it's important, because the Hispanic population is growing very fast in South Carolina.
Yes,
and we need to be ready. We need to be ready. CMA needs to be ready. This advisory council needs to be ready, because it's going to be our responsibility to help those who are coming here. So that will be, Alex, if we can look at a couple of dates sooner than later, and we can get a facilitator in, and we can come in, hash it out, and come up with an agreement that we can all live with. I think that will help a lot.
I think so.
Pedro.
Yes. Well, first of all, I think it's great that that we need to meet in person. It's time.
I think so.
And we can accomplish a lot more. Well, my name is Pedro. I'm in the spirit of sharing all this information. First of all, I want to recognize CMA, as you guys are doing a fantastic job putting together a bunch of information that is not available to everyone. And so I applaud that to you guys. But in the spirit of sharing more, I just want to extend the window of El Informador newspaper as a print media and digital media for anything that anybody needs. We will share it on our platforms. Charleston County has the fastest growing Latino population in the Southeast. It's not the largest, but it's the fastest. Mm-hmm. We have people moving, and we've seen it every day. Yes. You know, I'm from Venezuela. I can also tell you there's a lot of Venezuelan moving on an everyday basis in the Charleston region, and that's something that we cannot just cover with, you know.
That's right.
It's happening. Every time that I run into somebody, I ask, and I just got here last week, but not last week from another state. They just last week from Venezuela, and they just happened. They just crossed the border. Whatever the situation is, they are here, and it's happening on a daily basis.
Sure.
So housing is an issue. We know that, and education. I see that, you know, Anna is here, and I interviewed Anna before. It's something that we need to tackle. Education is another thing that we need to tackle.
Absolutely.
And so that's my comment. More than, you know, presenting myself, is just to keeping a window open for anybody in the Charleston region, with El Informador as a window for sharing any kind of information anybody needs to.
Very good. We appreciate that. And we're going to take you up on that, because we need to find contacts in all parts of the state that can share bilingual information, especially to the Hispanic community. There's a huge Hispanic population in Bluffton, Beaufort area. There's a growing population in Horry, but they're isolated. They won't communicate a whole lot. Alex has been trying to reach out. So we're going to have to go there and use a grassroots approach to go and pull people out, to talk with them, to get to know them, and so that we can tie folks together. and help them to know that we're here for everybody.
Yeah.
Not just for one population. We're here to support everybody. And we have to, this is a team effort. We got to do this together. There's no way any single organization can do this.
So I forgot to mention something. You guys were talking about the internet access, and
Yes.
it's critical. It's 30% of the population in the United States have limited access to internet.
Right.
And if you take that number into the by locally, it's huge. It's an issue for schools, for rural areas, for migrant workers and their kids. You know, we cover Charleston all the way to Hilton Head. We're very aware of the Latino population in Bluffton View for Hilton Head as well. And it is an issue, the access. I give you an example. You know, we are a print publication. Every other week we print, and we are working so hard to keep that moving forward, even though that the print industry is in a way moving more into digital. We don't want to stop printing. And the reason we don't want to stop printing is because there's still people who rely on a print product to know what's going on in their area. So even during COVID, we were lucky enough and to secure some advertising money so that we can continue printing. It's critical for us to continue keeping the news, local content out there. But how do we do it? Because if you start printing and it's only online, you have people who you're
going to lose a lot. You're going to lose a large population of people. That's one thing that CMA can actually help with. We can help pay or buy time in your paper, print articles, pay for articles to be printed.
It's something that I try to explain to a lot of different, individuals and companies is that, and I'm not trying to sell here anything. I just want you to guys to understand the point that we make an effort to put news out there, to share with the community what's happening in their area.
Right.
And that requires work, and it requires to print a product and put it out there, and us going there and sending a journalist and doing that coverage. That takes time. And that is important for the local community.
Sure.
I mean, as important for us, but it is a resource. And for anybody to put that information out there is critical.
Sure. Well, we're going to communicate with you on Low Country. Tanya probably has the Midlands. She can help with the communications in the Midlands, and we'll have to identify someone in the upstate to help share information that we'd like to add to the communities. We do most of our stuff electronically, but you're absolutely right. There are people who don't read that on the internet, and they like seeing the paper copy. So a part of our brainstorming will be communication strategy. And I'd like for you to be in that meeting when we have it, because I think that will help as far as shaping how much we will do in print media and how much we can do in digital. Either way, we have to increase the communications in the Hispanic Latino community. That's a must, and we have to do this yesterday. So we will be in touch once we get this brainstorming forum or what have you together and bring folks to the table. We can put our heads together and come up with a plan that will work for everybody. Anyone else?
If I may, if there's still a little bit of time, I'd like to add to the conversation.
Sure.
So going back to community health, as I'm listening to all of this, I keep thinking community health workers. So going back to the growing population that we are seeing in Lexington, I just want to emphasize that community health workers are members of the community. They are already trusted leaders in their communities. Connecting with community leaders means community health workers. We live, we work, and we are the community. We serve our communities. We are part of the community. I am a Latina. I am working with the Latino community. I want to just express that as much as I possibly can, because there is a lot of misinformation about community health and community health workers in particular, as well as that I do keep thinking back to getting connected with resources. The South Carolina Community Health Worker Association has been actively trying to connect people with resources through their website. All of the upcoming events that are going on in the area, we are trying to post that on our website. I did post the link in the chat to the website. We are listed under resources. Under resources, you'll find a map of South Carolina. You'll find events that are coming up on the national, regional, and county level on that website. So I would love to get connected with the association and with CMA to collaborate and how we can work together. The South Carolina Community Health Worker Association is on a statewide level. So when I say we can connect community health workers to resources, I really do mean that in a state level. Now, personally, I do work in the PD. However, again, I do travel to the Midlands. I travel wherever I'm needed as a community health worker. And I guarantee that we have people in the areas that we're looking for. We have people in Lexington. We have people all across the state that are bilingual community health workers. So again, I just want to emphasize that because we are present, and we would love to connect more people to community health workers, and the South Carolina Community Health Worker Association. So again, I'm sorry, I go off on a little bit of a rant, but yes, community health workers, we're here to help.
And we're going to look at that because you're around the state, which is good.
Exactly.
Whenever you're around the state, that's the group that you want to tag team with, because you cover everywhere. So we need to determine how that relationship will look and make that happen.
Yes, and we're also actively working on creating resource guides for the community health workers in each area. Perfect. Again, that's a process, and we're in the middle of all of that, but we are looking to do that as well. So we'll be able to identify resources as well as people in the area. So we're actively working on that. So I will send Alex more information and I will be in contact, hopefully, with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. Anyone else before we wrap it up?
I just want to say, all of you, Nicole, everybody that you see here lives, breathes, works with this community, the Hispanic community. And one of the things you will find in me is I'm not going to go back 20 years, 25 years,
right,
when we already did all this. Now there's a new group. They need us. We need to get them inside and build trust in this new group that's coming in.
Right.
And we can have all the resource. Again, I'll repeat myself, but if we don't find the ones that can tell the people, trust them.
Right. You need a champion. You need a messenger.
Yes.
It's very similar to the Native American communities.
Yes.
And you can't just walk into a Native American tribal without someone taking you there. Someone who can say that you're a friend.
That just came in yesterday.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. This is not happening. I remember, I don't want to show my age, but I remember 20 years ago when we were out there knocking on doors and saying, no, you need to give us forms. You need to help us. They pay taxes, just like you and me and all of us. And that's what they forget.
Sure.
That they have to pay taxes, and because a lot of them are building a pathway. And one of the things that people tell them is, if you pay taxes, you're doing good. So that was, now what I am seeing is this new group that is, the stories that you hear are true.
Wow.
The
Okay,
stories out there are true. And I just don't want this group of people to be missed.
right.
We've come a long way, and I'm so
You don't want to
happy.
turn back the hands of time.
Yes, and to get us in
That's right.
in
I
a-
understand.
in a frame
Sure.
to start a new, okay, now we have new babies. I'm gonna call it like that. I work with
Mhm.
early childhood, so now we have new babies that we have to attend to and help them.
Right.
And sometimes it takes holding their hand,
That's right.
because a child will trust you when you hold their hand.
That's right.
And and there's a lot of them that come that already have told me, people look at me funny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they say funny, but I say they look down at you.
That's right.
But they use the word funny.
I understand. All
And
right.
thank you, Dr. Acosta. I'm sorry, I always go.
That's okay. You're enlightening, you're bringing some new information that we need to know about. So, and we haven't met in a while, so I expected a longer meeting today because I knew that folks would have some concerns to share at this meeting. And it's a good one. It's a good informational meeting. Now we have to come up with the action items. We don't want it to just be information going in a dark hole. We want it to be at the forefront and come up with a plan on how we're going to implement a strategy or develop and implement a strategy that's going to close some of these gaps.
Yes.
Very good. Anybody else?
No, I'm done. The Puerto Rican in me, the Panamanian in me is sipping her mouth.
Okay.
Yes,
Gabriel.
This is Gabriel Cardona.
Gabriel.
Community health worker for Hope Health. I just wanted to address a couple. One of them is there was an article in the New York Times that came up on March 17, and it's about the food stamp budget cuts.
Right.
And this is going to really affect a lot of our, a lot of our communities, a lot of the minorities. It's going to push a lot of them into, worse poverty levels.
Right.
Something definitely to have in mind and being prepared for, connecting them with the Harvest Hope or food shares or food banks. And
has Congress passed that bill yet, or is it just still
well, the article came up on the 17th indicating that it's passed and that it cannot be appealed. So, as far as,
so Joe Biden signed it already then?
No, I'm not really. If you go back to the article, I got just a portion of the article right here.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% on all the
Because you're right. You're absolutely right. If they do that, if they cut those services, and see, this is what I try to explain to people during COVID. I worked in Congress for 20 years, and I know when Congress is setting people up for failure because they throw all these extra things out, knowing that the government cannot handle it, but it builds false hope among communities. And then they turn around and pull the rug out from underneath people. And this is what we're getting ready to see, just like the rental assistance getting ready to end, all these other things, because now they've got to figure out how they're going to cover the bills. How are they going to make up the difference? And now that they've caused so many people to change their lifestyles, thinking that they're going to have these services, it's going to be detrimental to a lot of families who have depended on this service, who depended on the food stamps to feed their children. And this is something that we're going to really need to deal with, because you know what's going to happen. Those who have depended on it, they're going to fall between the cracks if we don't take a stand and get in the middle of it to try and determine how we can help folks keep their families fed. That's going to be a big issue for us in South Carolina. And I'm glad you brought it up, because we're going to have to start looking into it, because something has to give.
And that's also, in addition to the rise of prices. So it's a
that's exactly.
Yes.
Absolutely. And
the
then
rise of food prices, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's a double whammy. And then I wanted to address the Medicaid eligibility also. The South Carolina Department of Health and Human Services announced that they're going to be resuming their annual review in the way they used to do prior to
Right.
COVID.
Right.
So it's really important for all families to have updated information. And we are encouraging all our participants and patients because, you know, that's going to affect that we have large families, especially in the Latino community, that have a lot of children. And if they let those lapse, then it's going to be some issues to
Right.
access.
And we need that information. CMA needs that to get that information out to you all as soon as possible. We need to contact Health and Human Services and have them forward that information to us so that you all can get it out into the communities, because folks are misqualifying if they don't know what the deadlines are. So therefore, we're going to need to make sure that information gets out early, as soon as possible, so that folks can go and get requalified for their Medicaid services. We don't need anyone to be without health care. That's just not a good thing at all.
Yeah, there's a website. I'm going to put it on the chat.
Okay.
But it's a website here that the agency put in for people to go back and look at the information that they require, and they're going to keep updating that website. Okay.
Well, we partner with them and we will have them give us information before they put it on their webpage so that we can have a little bit of a head start. And because we need that more than in a link, we need paper documents that we can start circulating in communities so folks can see it. Many people don't look at the web to see if it's time to requalify for their Medicaid. The message has to be a little bit louder than that. We've got to get information into churches, community of events, and all these different things, just like we're doing for this broadband. We're going to have to use a grassroots approach to get information to people, because I'm telling you, several people, thousands of people are going to miss that deadline if we don't get that information out.
Diana, did you want to mention something?
Yes, I wanted to, for those new people don't know me, I'm Diana Sayant, and I have Sayant Language Consulting. I focus on interpretation and translation. And I just wanted to mention that in the health arena, the language inequities that we are seeing in terms of certified interpreters, in terms of people who really know what they're doing, and the mistakes that are being made, and the lack of service, professional service for Latinos is astounding. And it's changing. And the only thing that's changing is that the Latino community is realizing that they do have rights and they can demand professionals, and they're suing, unfortunately, but it's the only way. That gets the hospitals, the facilities attention to do something. I don't know what it's going to take for this to happen and for people to realize, but as Latinos and leaders, I think that it's important that you realize that there is a right way to do language service, and to be careful when people ask you, just because you're bilingual, to interpret or translate. Because as an interpreter or as a translator, you can get yourself into trouble. So I just wanted to say that, and there's a lot going on, especially in the education field. There's the National Association of Educational Translators and Interpreters of Spoken Languages. They're finally getting a certification for people who are in the education world. So there's a lot going on, and we are moving forward, and it's awareness. It's just people really understanding the importance of having the right services for Latinos,
Right.
and that they don't have to pay for it.
Right.
They don't.
And see, those are the
have to
kinds
pay
of things
for it.
that we need in a resource guide. Those are the kinds of things that we need to accumulate in a one-stop shop kind of thing. And that would be another thing that we would add to our open discussion about those services that are free. And to let folks know that it's there, because many people just don't know it's out there. And
that it's free and they have a right to it.
right. And we
They're
need to let folks
afraid.
know that. We need
And
to
that
let
there are
folks know that.
laws protecting their rights.
So we definitely need to look at how we can better inform people that they deserve the services that are out there.
And a
They
few
are-
of them are opening up and learning, and they're requiring face-to-face interpreters and professional interpreters, because they're learning that this is the way. But it's that people are just unaware in that field, and I think
we
that
need to make them aware. That's the key. We
Totally.
need to make them aware. See, we got a lot we need to discuss in person. Zoom won't do it. We need to sit down and have a conversation, have a facilitator in the room, and come up with an action plan to help resolve some of these issues. And we need to do it now, because we don't know, one, what's going to happen in the next presidential election. We don't know what's going to happen in this state. So therefore, we have to be prepared to assist in whatever way we can to make sure that no one goes without, no one falls between the cracks, and that folks know about what's available to them, all the different resources, whether it's healthcare, whether it's translating services, whatever the case may be. People need to know, and we need to come up with a plan on how we can put that in one place for folks to have access to it. Brianna?
Hi, I just want to quickly introduce myself. So I'm Brianna. I'm the current president of the Latin American Student Organization at the University of South Carolina in Columbia. And so I just want to let you guys know that I haven't been talking much during the meeting, but I have been listening. And like, for example, like the surveys, I relayed that to my members. We have a huge group in our group. We have over 400 people in it. So that's a wide audience that we can reach and give these resources to. Like, I know you guys have talked a lot about healthcare and talking about accessibility in general. And I think a good population to hit are college students, because I know a lot of my members personally, like, their families struggle or they struggle themselves, and they look for these resources. And I have people come up to me and ask me, and I have only so many contacts on my contact list that I have on our Google Drive with many of you on it, but also just me being able to know these resources and relay this information is very important. So thank you guys for talking about this and inviting me to this discussion. And just keep in mind of college students, because they will talk to their families about these services, because I know they need it as well.
Absolutely. I agree. And definitely we are going to work with you, because we are focusing on a lot of colleges to help get information out. Even this survey, we're focusing on colleges because we know students will help us to reach the goal for broadband. They're the ones who need the broadband. Most of their parents are not real concerned, but these students can fill the surveys out, and it'll allow us to see just how great the need is. So we will definitely keep in touch with you, because we need your help in a lot of different ways to stay in touch with the students at USC. So I know that Alex will keep up with you and let us know when we need to bring you into the circle. Very good. Anything else? Well, this has been a very productive meeting, very productive discussion. We know where we are. We know what we need to do. The next step will be to organize a meeting, a forum of some sort with a facilitator, so that we can pin down the critical issues that we need to be addressing as a group. And I think that once we get that down on paper, what our goals will be, our strategy to achieve them, that gives the entire group and CMA something to work towards. And that's what we want to do. We want to try and make sure that we increase our communication, improve our communications, and we want to make sure that those sensitive issues are handled, like the new faces that are in Lexington. We want to make sure that those issues are handled and not pushed to the side, because if we know that the issue exists and do nothing about it, then we're just as bad as the system that discriminates against people. And we cannot have that. It is our job to advocate, and therefore we will do everything that we can to make sure that we advocate for those who need us to advocate for them. All right. Be prepared to receive an email from Alex on a date and location. It will be in person. CMA will buy lunch, and we will have a discussion, and we will leave there with some working orders. Is that good with everyone?
That's excellent. Thank you so much.
Very good. We will see you all soon, hopefully in the next month or so. I'm hoping to do this in April.
Okay.
Wonderful.
All right. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.